I'm going to go ahead and call the special school board meeting for Thursday, June 25th, 2020 to order. We have all board members present with the exception of board member Star Marcette. And if and when she joins, I will make sure to get that recorded. Board member Hildy has been excused from this meeting. She is traveling. The flag salute, I guess I'll go ahead and just, in the interest of time, go ahead and say it. And if you guys want to join me, fantastic. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming today. This is going to be just a quick one. We had to get a couple of items taken care of before the end of our fiscal year, which is June 30th. Next up is the approval of the agenda. I need a first and a second, and then I have a little modification to it.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second, Holloman.
Thank you. First by Margo, second by Andy. I'm going to add one non-action item. It is under the title ASD Inclusive Preschool Funding. And if there are no objections to that, then we'll go ahead and approve the agenda as modified. Not hearing any, so a modified agenda is approved. So the first item up is public testimony on action items. Katie, can you just confirm for the record that we don't have any public testimony on the one action item?
That is correct. We have no public testimony.
Perfect.
No one has signed up.
Okay. And Ms. Margo, if you could do the motion for our one action item.
Yes, thank you. Madam President, I move to approve ASD Memorandum number 130 and approve and authorize the superintendent to purchase insurance as outlined in this memorandum.
Second.
Thank you. I have a first and a second. Did any board members have any questions regarding this renewal insurance plan? We do have folks from the administration on the line that can help answer any questions for anybody. Okay, not seeing any hands raised. So Katie, I'll go ahead and have you do a roll call for us.
And President Michaelis.
Yes.
Member Bellamy.
Yes.
Member Donnelly.
Yes.
And Member Hildy is not present. I'll mark her that way. Member Holloman.
Yes.
Member Marcette is not present. I don't believe that she signed in yet. And Member Mitchell.
Yes.
And Ms. Katie, I see your flag still up there, which is awesome. I do know that the memorandum 130 passed with 5 yeas, 1 absent, and 1 not present at vote. There we go.
Yes.
And so it does pass, and we're good with insurance now. So we had the one non-action item, the ASD Inclusive Preschool Funding. And so I will go ahead and just pass this over to Dr. Bishop just to give us a real quick update and the purpose for putting this on non-action today.
All right, thank you, Madam President and School Board. I wanted to share that in the last week's Board Connect, you might have seen a letter that I had sent to the Assembly and the Mayor in regard to requesting $1.2 million in their CARES fund to support preschools. As background, we have been working with the Assembly as well as the administration, primarily the administration, for quite some time. in advocating for additional preschools in our city, both private and public, the way that as ASD serves the highest need students, the most underserved, in partnering with private preschools. Primarily, this was in regard to the alcohol tax. However, as the spring came through with the pandemic, other issues, the preschool funding for our state that we've received over the last few years, actually probably over 10 years, it's appropriated about every 2 years in grant cycles. And it's never fully funded. This was the first year, the Reading Act. That's primarily my major advocacy for that Reading Act was to place preschool funding in the ADM, to actually have a cycle in the BSA to have preschools funded. We were expected in the law, as the regulations were written, to be supported by anyone who had received the grant would be an automatic in the first year. So we had looked at that. With the Reading Act being on hold, as well as the legislature did not address anything about preschool, we are 1.2 million short in funding the inclusive preschools. Again, those are the preschools. We will continue to have special education preschools. We will continue to have title preschools. We will continue to have our Indian Ed preschools. These were the newest preschools that were for some special education students that will most likely be they're developmentally delayed, as well as neighborhood children. And they were the, through our special education, through Head Start, we really take care of the lowest socioeconomic status students, but it's that next rung up that we really were serving in these preschools. And the funding is not there. It's 1.2 million. I requested from the Assembly. There was support, both quite a bit of communication between Austin Quinn Davison and Christopher Constance. They want to support it. They do see another round of funding coming through, and they could look at that. But I was seeking the funds that they just placed out, and that's not going to be the case. We do have a plan B with these preschools, since most likely we're going to be online. We have a smaller amount of money, about $150,000, that we were going to serve children through a support model with parents and coaching model at home until we could restart the following year with full-scale preschools. But it is it's a hole in our budget. We could go with the plan B, which would not take additional funding. It would just be a change in how we do business with fewer employees in really an outreach model until the next year, or fund balance. But that's something, again, that is a little bit tricky. We didn't expend as much on the preschools, or rather the private schools requesting funds. So there is a small amount left in the district's CARES Act. But I just wanted to place that in front of you. We will work through some of the options, continue to work with the Assembly, but I did not want this to be a surprise as we enter mid-July.
Thank you, Dr. Bishop. Board Member Mitchell, you have your hand raised. Still on mute, though.
That is definitely helpful, isn't it? As you all know, I am a huge believer in trying to get to babies as soon as possible, even in the first year of life. So I really love that we've been able to do this program, and it would be great if the Assembly came through. It just seems like a parent coaching model. I mean, so Dr. Bishop, you're saying it probably won't be in person anyway because of COVID, because we are planning to do in person with our other students as long as we're in the green zone. So could you just explain that a little bit more?
Well, that's a great question. Due to COVID and just figuring things out again with that model with younger children, it wouldn't, we foresee some of the parents anyway taking their kids out and not being safe if it's going to be around the same amount of kind of the feeling we're sending out our survey this week, but we would have a significant amount of kids that would choose not to anyway. And
But can I ask another
Full
question?
online model. Again, it's 6 schools. It's actually 6 preschools that we're talking about. And I believe that equates to about 120 students.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Yes, ma'am.
So I know that, there are many, many more students we could enroll in preschool who are probably, equally eligible. If parents choose that they don't want to send their children to school, is there a next group that we would go to? And I believe those rooms had 20 students with 2 teachers, or was it 10 students with 2 teachers? It seems like it would be relatively easy to keep them in a pod.
20 students.
And
18 to 20 students.
Okay. So is there like a next tier of students we could go to?
This isn't about not wanting to do it. This is about if the board wants to make an action to fund it, we can get her done. We just do not have funding for it.
Okay. We have 150,000.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
And we need 1.2 million.
But even with the 1.2 million, you think that many of those families would not be sending their children to preschool?
From the data nationwide and what we have been hearing through ours, I project about 25% of our student body is not going to choose to come back. And want an online until there's a vaccine, rather.
Right.
Next
To
up,
your
I have
question,
board
we would. Oh, sorry. And just to finish your question, Member Mitchell, we would serve as many kids as we could serve.
All right. And next up, I have Board Member Bellamy, who has her hand up.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Do we know why the assembly, we weren't in this first round of assembly CARES monies allocation?
Through the president to Member Bellamy, our conversations had been with the administration through the tax money and understanding the convergence of this. The notification was at the beginning of June in regard to those grants. And so I believe that the assembly had just been, as you know, they put 10 million towards childcare and younger children, which is a great effort by our city.
Mm-hmm.
In understanding that they were targeting that age group, I shifted from our work with the taxes to increase preschools just to hold on to this preschool. Again, very supportive just in the timing of their plans and the motions and their meetings. They are looking to do it at the next.
Okay.
At the next bundle of funds that they believe will come through. It just puts us in a bind and in that unknown. It's not good for our staff. It's not good for our parents and students. And just working through that. Again, we've planned. We're figuring we can service. We don't want to just leave our parents and our students, but understanding that the funds weren't there is critical.
Okay. So the next round of funding for the assembly, the next allocation they'll do is like. What is that, like July? Do we know?
I could get that answer. They have not submitted their full grant. Jim Anderson can reach out to them to find out when the next round is. In the next round, they will focus on business and homelessness, but we will take a look.
Okay.
Well, actually, this round was preschool businesses and daycares, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But again,
so now I think they the mayor they gave the mayor like some discretionary money the other night, right? They gave him like I think it was originally 3 million, but they gave him like 1.5 million. I thought they approved for him to use in discretionary funds. Maybe we can ask him to. I don't know if it's a possibility or not.
Through the president to Member Bellamy, yes, we haven't expended all our avenues. It's this meeting tonight is primarily to make it crystal clear to the board what's going on. Yeah, so there's some other avenues we're exploring. Again, with the tax funds, we actually have the school tax funds that since these are outside. Some of the students anyway are outside of the BSA. We could look to fund partially through the city funds of the taxes they collect for the mill rate for schools. And of course, this CARES money. So it's spread out. We've also requested additional consideration from the state. But I didn't want to get ahead and then have this be a surprise later.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
But I did not know about the mayor's money.
He does. He has $1.5 million dollars.
Thank you. I'm going to ask a quick question, and then I know Board Member Mitchell also has her hand up as well. Just from a timing perspective, when would the administration want or have ready to move this to action under whatever it looks like? Would you like it at the July 10th mini meeting, or would the July 21st regular meeting be an appropriate place to move this to?
Madam President, at the retreat, we could give an update, and by that time we would know which way we would go, and we would then have either acceptance of funds at July 21st, which is our goal, to accept some funds from someone. So we'll give an update, though, at our retreat for you.
Okay, perfect. And Board Member Mitchell, you have your hand up again.
So it sounds like you're relatively confident that there will be funds coming from somewhere, which is great. But to your comment about trying to keep, not only the students coming into school, but also keep our staff who have been on for a few years now and trained and all that. I guess you had said that going into our reserve fund is a little problematic. And I assume you mean just because there are a lot of needs, but I guess my personal vote would be if there is a way, if there are no other funds and there's no other way to fund this, I would certainly like to take a look at if that's a possibility, because I would hate to lose the staff who's so devoted and trained up and all that kind of stuff.
Through the President to Member Mitchell, thank you for that vote of confidence and support of young people. And I will work with Jim. He's going to continue, our CFO, Jim Anderson, will continue to work with the Muni, take a look at the different options, as well as really now that we have information back from the private schools, like we've done with other things, hopefully we can piece together some funds to be able to continue moving forward. I just don't have the full complete picture, but I am working towards a positive to support this, especially with the response I received from Austin Quinn Davison and Christopher Constance.
All right. Thank you to all the board members, for asking questions and getting more information. And we look forward to the follow-up from the administration. I don't see any other hands raised at this time. And so like I said, this is a very short meeting. Wanted to just, one of the cool parts of being president is being able to, on behalf of the school board, wish Mr. Tom Roth a happy birthday. So special
Happy
shout
birthday,
out to you,
Tom.
sir.
Happy birthday.
Have a great birthday.
Happy birthday, Tom. Sorry I'm late.
Anymore.
And Board Member Marissa joined us. Thank you. So we are going to entertain an adjournment to executive session for the school board to finish up the superintendent evaluation. I need a first and a second, please.
I move that we move to executive session for the purpose of superintendent evaluation.
A second.
All right, I've got a first and a second. Thank you, everybody. And board members, I'll give you a few minutes to get transferred over to that other link. Dr. Bishop, did you have your hand up?
Yes, Madam President, I was just wondering if I'm finished for this evening.
You are finished.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good luck, you guys.
Not literally. Not
Thank
literally.
you.